Alrighty. Hope everyone's had a good weekend. So yeah, obviously here we have the latest iteration of my cosplay. Sort of mixed results here. I like the way it looks, but I think I did them a bit too big for my forehead, so it doesn't quite fit. And obviously it's my first time using them, so I don't think I quite got them to stick properly, but overall I'm pretty happy with them. I did sort of rush my body paint though, so that takes away from it a bit. But yeah, we're here first and foremost for video games, so let's get back into Ace Attorney Chronicles. Going forward, I think I might stick with just doing the hey Nolas. Yep, going forward, I think I might just stick with the more sort of cartoony horns, just because I think they work a bit better with this wig. Like, it's a bit basically it doesn't leave much space for my forehead for the horns, if that makes sense. I mean, I suppose I could make a smaller version of these, but that would be that would take a lot of resources, and I want to get on with my car lag, so. Yeah, I'm working on a, so we're on episode 4. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. What's a Kokoro?
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Okay, the mystery cannot be dissolved in water or alcohol. Nerlus, Kokoro is that one village in Legend of Zelda. I'll pass it off me.
19th of February, 9:47 a.m. British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office.
Wait, no, it's actually the birth name of the main character of Dragon Ball. Of course, yeah. As Vegeta always calls him, Kokoro. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? Naruhodo? Or maybe it's that one kid's neighbour. Oh yeah, my neighbour, Totoro. That took me a second. No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious. I felt like we were staying in a palace. Or the little forest spirits from Zelda. I mean, to be fair, the village is named after them already, so. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was bright in the day, even in the middle of the night. And what about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Beria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. It could be a unit for measuring how shiny gold is. Yeah, I wonder why that's called carat anyway. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yeah, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wanted in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I really am so sorry. No, maybe it's that one country in there, you don't know, where it could just be an island or just on a coast. Yeah, sorry, I don't follow. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. London is a scary place. Oh, good morning to you at this early hour. Oh yeah, well... Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We've come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Mrs. Assot's sound is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Oh, Morocco you're thinking of, no less. Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch, but fair enough.
Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices.
Oh, yeah. It was very eye-opening. Thank you. And, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end.
Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land.
Thank you very much. So I'm a lawyer now?
Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust there wouldn't be a problem.
Another case? Already?
Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I?
It's just that yesterday's trial ended. Unusually, I haven't quite come to terms with it. Hey, Icky. Yes, indeed, Bree. How be thee?
What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for?
The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Icky, you're okay? How am I? Yeah, I'm good. Testing out the new horns. I'm not sure I'll stick with them for this specific cosplay, but I'm really happy to have the fairy worked out. I might just stick with latex horns for this cosplay in particular, just because I like the cartoony look, but yeah, I think they're great. Maybe a bit big for my forehead. But yeah, I'm really happy I have the experience with making silicone prosthetics now. Oh yeah, how's the Stanley Parable going? Yeah, I think instead of trying to make more sort of iterations of the horns, I think I'm gonna sort out some ears and also maybe some claws. Because I've basically been trying to 3D scan my hand so I can 3D model some sort of like claw-like nails that I can 3D print off. You know, sort of like how the tieflings in Baldur's Gate have. Icky, it was fun and silly, but just one shot. You skipped streaming last week. Oh yeah, I thought it had been a while ago. The culpability of the defendant has not at the present time been established by the court. Icky, but what Manica though? Oh, I think we all know. Consequently, the jury will not be required to prefer a judgment.
Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defence.
I just can't help but wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Mr. Naruhodo, it's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth, and then the trial ended.
Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer.
Sorry. What do you mean, Lord Strongheart?
Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial.
No. Oh, what? Damn, was he the one caught in the carriage while it was on fire? What? Mr. McGilded is dead.
I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk.
Well, let's talk then. Oh, in fact, let's look around the room a bit. This must be the Lord Chief Justice's desk. I believe it's made of marble. It looks more like an over-the-top tombstone that's toppled over to me. I think that's your fanciful imagination at work again, Mr. Naruhodo. It feels like everything that's normally made of wood and paper at home is made of bricks and stone here. I know. That's why this place feels so overbearing, I'm sure. Wait till you get to America and everything's made of drywall instead. Just look at all the naughty books packed together on these shelves. They go from floor to ceiling. And they're all books that you couldn't hope to come by in Japan. It's like a dream. Yes, a very bad dream. I guess fear of books runs in the family. They're not all about British law either. There are books about the judicial systems of other Western nations. France, Germany, Spain, Holland.
What about Russia?
Why do you ask?
I was wondering about asking the Lord Chief Justice how you say wardrobe in Russian. What do you think?
I think perhaps it's a fort best abandoned.
Look at these menacing metal giants facing each other across the room.
I believe that, yes, they're suits of armor.
Oh, right. I thought maybe they were like the lion dogs we have in Japan guarding shrine gates.
No, not at all. In fact, in Europe, suits of armor like these are always possessed by evil spirits, you know. And they roam around in the middle of the night.
Really? Is there nothing you don't know, Miss Suzato?
This book tells me everything I need to know about everything. If you're ever unsure, just ask.
Where'd she get that incredible tome? Is this some kind of clock?
Actually, I think we might be inside some sort of giant clock. But those gears are larger than anything you'll find on a steam locomotive even.
It's eerie. Do you think clock is some sort of hobby of his? The Lord Chief Justice, I mean.
Well, boys do enjoy fiddling about with machines, don't they?
I'm not sure you could fiddle with cogs of that size. And I'm certain you couldn't call him a boy. Still, it's amazing how little noise the cogs make considering how large they are. There's actually something quite soothing about their precise rhythm.
So they aren't guilty feet? No, it's actually a tablet. This is also as a time traveller. The tablet has future tech and can use the internet through time. I mean, it's possible. But then we're going into the old TV tropes gag of, everyone's a Time Lord. Okay, how did McGilded die then?
I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, There was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom.
Yes, of course. That was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGildet had been accused of.
Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames.
Notice, not everyone, just as I say. Probably. No. How could such a thing have happened?
That is being investigated as we speak, but already the police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage of that of Mr. McGildet.
That's awful.
The man must have slipped inside while the bailiff's attention was elsewhere.
That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened?
That is also being investigated as we speak.
Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGildet did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Well, I must be making tracks now. Tis time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. He's supposed to be Irish, but I'm trying to give him a northern accent because I cannot do an Irish accent to save my life. And also, I fear Pixel's wrath.
An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage.
But then who was Mr. McGildet talking about?
Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police.
Poor Mr. McGildet. Okay, British court.
So, how do you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow. Mr. Unedited means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Sasu sounded such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. Wow, she has good hearing.
The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can.
Okay, Mr. Humble. The most advanced in the world, is it?
I was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair.
Simple? That was simple?
As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose.
I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favourable verdict. See you in a bit, Nolis. Is something funny?
No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, never mind. You exceed my expectations, I freely admit. That much is at least an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I've prepared a new case for you that I mentioned before.
What's going on? What is he going to say before? Okay, new case. Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me. It's a murder, and the trial starts in 10 minutes.
Don't worry. It's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different.
Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind?
That is to say, no one has died, as yet. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise.
So the trial's tomorrow then. Is everything alright? Oh, yes, I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... Well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilded's trial.
Oh yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome.
The most terrible end awaits the defendant.
Yes, that's right.
Here we go again.
Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes and 39 seconds until the court sits.
Me getting ready for work. The last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time.
And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you.
Oh, what's that?
Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would be interested to hear exactly what you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds.
Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh?
Another thing? Continue.
On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important I have to do.
Something very important? And what exactly would that be?
He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he ever made it to Great Britain.
You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion.
Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me.
I urge you both to focus your attention on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details.
How long has he been standing there?
So, I wish you the best of luck, and bid you farewell.
Okay, is this our gumshoe? There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what do you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, you never told me. Icky, our 19-odd minutes are up. Exactly. Anyway, we'd better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yeah, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. That is not how you eat fish and chips, animator. This is making me hungry. Could we trouble you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Yeah. Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eating out in your hand, you know. Mrs. Aso-san told me it was foolproof. This is... Yep. We found him. The most British man to ever exist. I'm a busy man. A very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, and I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying, Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I never heard of. Yep, there's definitely fish and chips, no less. Exactly, no less. This is England. The weather's always shite. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. Icky, this is taking a bite out of a full-size Kit Kat level chaos. Exactly. I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, sir.
Hey?
Yeah, it's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it?
It's unseasonably fine in Grandshire. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine.
Unbelievable. How'd you pull that off?
So, Lord Strongart's asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard.
Gregson? Inspector Gregson?
What's the matter with Suzato-san?
Nerless. He's got a magic regenerating fish, or he's escaped from the Greek afterlife. He got the Tantalus special or something. Oh, maybe he just visited the chippy and got a large stack, and he's keeping the rest in his coat pocket. Does this detective's name mean something to her? Inspector Gregson. Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson?
You're acting like you know this man, Miss Suzato, but he's a London detective.
Oh, I know him. Do you know him? Very well, in fact.
Very well.
Oh no, does Suzato listen to his podcast? Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. Nullus Tobias. Well, I've always heard it pronounced Tobias.
Oh, in that publication, what's it called again? Rand's magazine?
That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry.
Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course. But he does come up with the goods from time to time.
Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot, all of the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words.
And that's his highest praise.
Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. Icky, those two are secretly married, right? That's how these games work. Exactly.
No, it's not. And thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now.
That's great, isn't it?
Huh. I have to admit, that start with I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hands and my reputation at the yard went through the roof.
Well, that's wonderful.
No, it's not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumours about me under their breath, I'm sure.
Rumours? Are you quite sure?
He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's got to his head. Stuff like that.
Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? See, this is why if I ever became a well-known streamer, I'd just disappear from the face of the earth.
Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what people like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs.
And he's still making me hungry. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Oh dear, perhaps the sunrise to fame does change people. Okay, on to the case. Moida most found. So, about the case the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before.
Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned, the art, it couldn't be simpler.
Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated.
I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking by along the pavements on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital, unconscious.
That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind?
I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with his acid takedown, would you?
That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo.
Brace yourself. Ryanosuke, you've angered her now. Anyway, after something in a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest.
So there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit. Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognised the person in question.
Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one.
Sorry.
There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now.
Why ever not?
Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Barak von Zeeks.
No.
Sounds like you heard of him then.
Oh yes, we're very familiar with Lord Van Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself.
The Reaper of the Bailey.
I wonder if Reaper of the Bailey is meant to be a pun on Rumple of the Bailey. Lord Barak von Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGill told us about him before the trial, didn't he? When Van Zeek stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname, I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty. Is that it? Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
Huh. And what of it?
Oh, well, I think that means even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant.
No, you really don't have a clue, do you?
What do you mean?
What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead.
Oh.
Magnus McGilded came a cropper in the omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say he saved the defendant, can you?
What are you saying?
Look, if Van Zeeks could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you.
Oh, I get it. So everyone he prosecutes is doomed, regardless of the verdict. Got it. Are we really supposed to believe that? could really go for some fish and chips right now.
Right, well, fill you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips.
You very blatantly aren't.
So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place?
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself.
You've branded him a criminal already?
He's as good as. Shaking like a leaf in his cell he is. He'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's an inmate 53. Speak to the jail and he'll show you the way.
Inmate 53. Thank you. It's quite a nice rhythm going there. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage too.
But if the man they've arrested is innocent,
you could well imagine he'll be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try. So I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help? Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I'm your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yeah, let's go. Okay then. So we've got the scene of the crime and we've got the suspect. Let's start with the scene of the crime.
19th of February, Briar Road.
Sucks to be that bike. So this is where it happened. Briar Road. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation missile helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak. Nullis, if Van Zeeks uses black magic, you wonder if Edgeworth uses red and Phoenix uses blue. Or what of Ryunosuke? For that matter, you can't think of any black or white deck types in particular you'd like to associate with him with. Yeah, I don't think they're playing card games at one another, no less. That is their job, you know. Notice you got to play some magic with some Kara's friend last night. It was good. Okay, that's cool. Mr. Naruhodo, I see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close to reveal Bobby's helmet. Fun fact, in the UK we call them tit heads.
What? The helmets?
Of course. I have to try one someday. Although, to be fair, they don't wear them anymore. They've got more like sort of flat cap sort of things now. Well, I hope your hatty dream comes true. When I was in secondary school, one of my classmates did work experience with the police, and she got to keep a hat. They're actually a lot more solid than they look. Like the newer ones, the soft cap ones. I don't see Inspector Gregson anywhere. Sort of like a bowler hat effect, so they're basically a helmet. Shall we see if we can sneak past and investigate the scene of the stabbing? Why should we sneak? I don't want to upset one of those bobbies and be busted on the head by one of those metal helmets. My skull will crack in two, I'm sure. Oh no, an English bobby would never do such a thing. Someone's never been to a protest. This is a land of gentlemen, you know. Okay, let's look around then. Oh, a British bicycle, look. Although the wheel is misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore. Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling. It seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well. The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that. Goodness, do you dislike bicycles? No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems reckless. If you ever tried walking on stilts and fallen into a river, I know you'd agree with me. Okay, so Ronald's K's fallen into a river while riding on stilts. Noted. We'll have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around. That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history. Notice you ended up staying up all night making decks. There's a haunted doll character from a recent horror set who's surprisingly powerful. At least she did well for you in 1v1. It'll be interesting to see how she does in a 4-player game. Okay, I didn't know Magic the Gathering games could be 4-way. Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging over. In fact, it looks decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here. We must find some cheap lodgings ourselves as soon as possible. Yes, you're right. Cheap, ideally with reasonably level floors. Oh, look at the windows of that building there. Are you sure they're windows? Yes, but they're all filled in with bricks. Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where no one lives at the moment. There's smoke coming from the chimneys, though. Oh dear, everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place. There are piles of snow on the pavement here and there, but the road itself is covered in carriage tracks. It seems carriages often travel down Briar Road. It soon disperses all the snow. I slipped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. It seems like it'll be far safer to walk on the road instead. Oh, but you're rather small, Mr. Naruhodo, and dressed all in black. Our road coachman might not see you, and you could be flattened by horses. Well, thank you for the rather small concern. Icky, unfortunately, like every other building in Glasgow, seems to have the origin story of tobacco lords who profited from slavery. Yeah, they say that about Bristol as well. The clouds look so big and heavy in the sky, don't they? And with the dense fog as well, everything looks hazy. Well, it is known as Foggy London Town. I can just about make out some sort of spire through the fog. It looks like it's still being built though. Icky, but they technically didn't own slaves, so it was fine. Rolls eyes so hard they land in Belgium. Yeah. Like, there was sort of a history of trying to downplay Britain's role in slavery, but, like, we can't really put it all on the Americans. They didn't do that. And, like, when I was a kid, the sort of consensus was no one was enslaved in Britain, but apparently that wasn't entirely true. Like, there was a fair bit of indentured servitude going on. Which I suppose goes to tell you, there's always more to learn about history. I suppose the good maxim is, if history ever makes you feel proud of your country, that's not history, it's propaganda. So of course you need a propaganda. Ha! Yes, that must be the Crystal Tower, being built for the great expedition that's open in 6 months' time. Apparently it's going to be very striking, glazed on all sides, and the symbolic centerpiece of the expedition. Thanks for the hydrate, Icky. It's to be the largest expedition in history, is it? I can't even begin to imagine it. Oh, and the posture check. Let's see how easy it is to stretch with these horns. Actually quite easy. Notice, there are no slaves in America. Smiley face. Please don't read the fine print on our amendment that abolishes slavery. Ah yes. Specifically, you're talking about the fact that forced labour can be handed down as a prison sentence. And oh look, guess who started getting targeted by the police more? Hello, Mr. Snowman. You're unproblematic, aren't you? What a delightful snowman. I didn't realise the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. It looks a little creepy though. Oh, it has a scarf, look. You need one if you're out in this freezing cold all the time. I wish I had one. I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment too. We certainly can't afford a scarf. Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his. But the snowman who made... Oh, sorry. The person who made the snowman certainly would. Yes, I know, you're right. Anyway, even if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. Icky, the snowmen are making more of themselves, it all makes sense. Oh yep, they've learned how to reproduce. Soon they will dominate the world. Oh. Or at least the cold parts of it. Oh, that's a Scotland Yard carriage. They use vehicles like that to rush to crime scenes and cast away criminals. You're very well informed, aren't you? It's long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London. Well, just pick up a stone and throw it right through one of the windows then. But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it, wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way, help me find a good stone. No, I wasn't serious. Okay, anything else to look at before we talk to the coppers? That's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons. I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern. Oh no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. Twice I found myself in handcuffs despite not knowing a thing about what was going on. Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favours at all. This patch of pavement must be where the incident occurred. Yes, it's a very wide open space, isn't it? That's true. I can't see anywhere an attacker could have been hiding.
Wait, what are you foreigners doing here?
Just investigating the scene, officer.
Conspiring with that moustache fellow from Japan, are you?
Conspiring?
Come here to destroy evidence, have you? Get out of here before I give you an ironing. Go on.
He shoot us away like rats. Yes, we should give him a wide berth. Wait. Don't tell me the police officer's the suspect this time. What a disappointing experience. Okay, guess we can't do anything while we're here.
"19th of February, local prison, cell 9.
So, these are the British prison cells. Oh, the ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon.
Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls.
Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse.
Notice, the doll has very low attack power, but when she attacks, she throws damage at all opponents for each low power creature her owner has, and there are more toy creatures in the set, so it's like she's leading the toy rebellion. It's great. Amazing. Apparently our client is in this cell here. But it's so dark at the back there I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see ya. Stop hiding in the back of the cell and show your face at once.
Am I a cat? As yet with no name? Calling me by a number is so utterly, unbelievably, unjustifiably unreasonable. I refuse to answer. Yep, it's him. Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think is going on here?
I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese.
Okay, no. We've never met this guy.
Nullis, shut up and get out here, Valjean.
Exactly.
Excuse me? Shh, quiet.
Twitch, twitch, twitch.
They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now. I can sense it. Right, so could I ask you who exactly... There you are. You come to curse me, haven't you? Didn't try to hide it. You're a ghost. A ghost?
We mean you no harm, Prisoner San. Are you Japanese by any chance?
This is beyond my wildest dreams.
Nellis,
I can sense it. This game is being played on stream. Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry.
oh, it's fine.
We're just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it.
Nellis.
And the streamer has save data from Metroid Dread.
Okay, I don't think this is Psycho Mantis, Nellis.
It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am, in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment.
The amazing attack of the alliteration.
Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? What compassion my fellow countrymen show to dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never failing Nippon.
A first-class lawyer.
Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here.
I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example?
Yes I can. I will. Sean, stay sullen and silent.
Okay, he's simultaneously very quiet and very loud. I'm not sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy.
Exactly, Nellis.
I'm not sure that's how you dab, Grandad. Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Rhinosuke Naruhodo. And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Suzasu Mikotoba.
I am.
A visiting student, sent here by our government. Nobody notoriously named Natsume. Sosakai Natsume. Sorry, Natsume. Okay. Sosakai Natsume? I think that's how it's pronounced. Sosakai Natsume-san? What's an unusual name?
Call me Sosaki, please.
Okay, Ki, not Kai. That makes more sense. Thank you, Nellis.
Call me Sosaki, please. I'm a poet, you see. I write you with haiku.
Oh, okay, that's it. All of his lines have been in haiku so far.
It's something of a nom de plume.
A nom de plume? You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san.
No. Don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that.
And haiku? That really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student, sent over here by the government?
Yes, that's right. A year ago I was told to go and study English. First I had to suffer that misery, and now this. It's beyond the pale.
Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here?
No, I mean I have an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. But just because the government tells you to do something, doesn't mean you can do it? No.
Icky. Haikus are quite fun, but sometimes they don't make sense. Refrigerator. Yes. What do you mean?
If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That is my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable.
I see.
Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi.
You must be a man of great standing.
Oh yes, so I'm often told.
And often like to be told, so it seems. Exactly, Icky. He's definitely dabbing. Or should I say, definitely defiantly dabbing. Okay, let's see what he's accused of. Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Sosaki-san?
I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder.
Murder?
Oh, no, it's alright. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes.
Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker?
I didn't see anyone.
What?
If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here?
Nerlus, funny thing. If you thought that studying English as a language instead of just English literature was a valid choice, you'd have jumped at it. Yeah. I mean, it's studying literature versus... Actually, when I did English for GCSE, that's basically a sort of middle school equivalent. Basically, it was split into English language and English literature. So yeah, the distinction is made. So English literature is usually studying a few works. So I studied Thomas Hardy and Shakespeare. and English language is other stuff like, just how, well, it's more like language in general, really. As opposed to French, which was obviously studying a foreign language. Oh dear. It seems this case is becoming rather complicated.
Me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient.
So Seki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we find out more about the case. Okay, about the case.
It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear, and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books. I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings.
Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too?
As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was. And just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream, and collapsed into the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet.
How terrible.
I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard.
Nullis, all you really knew was that in some point in high school, language arts got replaced by English, which you liked a lot less, but you couldn't be asked to investigate if you could go back to language arts in college. That's a shame. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps.
I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran, as fast as my legs would carry me, back to my accursed lodgings.
That's not good.
They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that.
Tell me, Seseki, Sam was the victim an acquaintance of yours? No, you don't even call the subject English literature, just English. You hate it. That's fair enough. No one likes being ordered to read.
Don't be ridiculous. Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English? And a young woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people.
I see. A young woman, unknown to Soseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anyone pass you?
Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul.
No one? Oh, great. So the victim was unknown to you, and there's nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? What conundrum? Conundrum? What do you mean, Sasaki-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Saseki-san has told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says they didn't know the victim, and then there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen.
I did.
But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit.
Ugh, you. What did you just say?
Nothing. I didn't say anything. Oops, perhaps I forced that a little too loudly. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested?
Sorry?
He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was actually there in the first place? Oh yeah, she's right.
It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck.
Accursed great detective? Could it be?
I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live. With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, big-headed, busybody, begone.
May you be cursed until the end of your days, Her Lock Sholmes. I knew it. Mr. Sholmes? Sherlock Sholmes. I love this running gag. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after the nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a slither of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me, "This is the police, put the weapon down." Yes, it was a thin slither, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting, dietary discrimination devils. You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That's Sherlock Sholmes. It's actually just Sherlock Sholmes. He's English. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yeah, the great detective is really well known. And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the night-warning madman. Me? This weak, stooped kitten of a man? I wonder which great deduction process led him to the conclusion this time. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be the really most unreasonable. That would be really most unreasonable. Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were, that's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me, in impossible English. Fiendish foreign flim flammery. Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point. But my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say, so I just kept repeating things like, "Yes, I do, and I'm fine." Next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew it, I was thrown in here. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine. He's not fine now. Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. And when we're speaking English, a simple mystery is more than enough. Oh yes, alright, yes, they've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour. A student? I have defended a case in the Old Bailey, only the one though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in you. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm sort of a locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband, that's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire. It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. A keepsake. I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh, who do you mean? The lawyers, all the British defence lawyers, they won't defend me. Goodness, why? Why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before, when it happened. There was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks like as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Soseki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them. Someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said. And, of course, the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say, the man doesn't understand half of what's been said anyway. That's awful.
They're wrong. I've studied more English than half the policemen out there on the streets. I travelled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. So Zeki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can, for the time being. What do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Oh yes. Yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for. Okay, anything else to ask him? No. These are the scales of justice. They're a symbol of the defense, aren't they? Yes, that's right. The scales are a symbol of fairness to show that all are treated equally in the eyes of the law. And they're a warning to those who enter the courtroom without an impartial mind. If they're the mark of the defense, they'll be more suspicious if they're weighing more heavily on the not guilty side, I think. Very impartially, I'm sure. The lawyer's name is embroidered on the inside here. Look. Kazuma Osagi. This was his band, of course. He had his heart set on this study tour in Great Britain. I'm sure he would have found the truth he longed for here. But he lost his life before he even had the chance to see the place. I have such a strong sense of his hopes and dreams when I look at this armband, though. Okay, that was worth looking at closer. Yes, yes, yes. The symbol of one of our great empire's first-rate lawyers. Which means, of course, you'll stand by my side, you'll defend me. Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't why I was showing it to you. Then why else would you show me that? Oops. In hindsight, that probably wasn't the best idea. Okay. Let's get moving. Briar Road again, I guess. Oh, hey. It's this guy. What's the Japanese delegation doing here? Oh, Inspector Gregson. This isn't on the tourist trail, This isn't on the tourist trail, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware. Yes, of course. We're here to investigate. So I've been to the holding cells then. What do you make of the criminal? He's not a criminal as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect. Well, we'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens. And the verdict's a foregone conclusion. Yeah, the stone-cold air of rejection. Take heart. London this time of year is full of stone-cold air. That makes it worse somehow. Okay, Scotland Yard. Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place. No, this guy reminds you of when Luke and Ellen from Outside Xbox did Eliza P stream with the fake moustache filter on. Oh yeah, from Outside Extra, not Xbox. So, fun facts.
my face blindness is actually bad enough. I didn't realise how many presenters Outside Extra and Outside Xbox had until I started watching Oxventure and I saw them all in the same sort of video at once. The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organisation you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am. Oh, and you know, I've always dreamed of wearing a real Bobby's helmet. It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city. Oh yeah, doesn't he look wonderful?
Being a London Bobby is hard going, I can tell you.
Oh, really?
First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes around and razzles all the labourers on his beat so they can get off to work.
What? He wakes people up? Oh yeah. The police used to be knocker-uppers.
Yep, raps on the window with a long pole. Did it myself, going back a bit.
I had no idea.
The Bobby works for the people of the town, just another of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance.
I can't really imagine how far that is. But that sounds like a long way. Problems, no less? All I said was that they used to be the knocker-uppers. Yeah, language is wild. Yeah, so fun fact about the police forces. Basically, detectives and constables are sort of sideways promotions. Like, obviously, detectives have a bit more sort of status, but in theory they're equal. So, like, there's a sort of division of powers. So detectives are the ones who investigate, but only uniformed officers are allowed to actually arrest people. So basically, if a detective decides someone's guilty, they have to bring in a uniformed officer to do the arrest. And basically, if a detective doesn't get promoted after a certain amount of time, they're usually demoted back to being uniformed. I can't imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way. Let me see. 20 miles? That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama. On foot. That's definitely taking things a step too far.
And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps.
The police are experts at gaslighting. Oh my.
And I suppose, between all those duties, the Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well.
And chase after criminals trying to evade the law.
I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly. More alongside, but yeah. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I admit.
I always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do.
Okay, about the case.
It happened around 5 in the evening 2 days ago, just there in that open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind.
Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned she's being treated in hospital.
I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, we won't be able to find out much about her at all.
I suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course.
Here's the map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it out if you want.
Really? Are you sure?
It's our policy to give lawyers defending suspects the odd bit of information to go on.
I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still. Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept. The local map has been entered into the court record. A street map of the local area showing where the victim was found.
Anyway, So as we know, there was no one else on the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So who did it, do you think? Not much of an head-scratcher, is it?
Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming not to have seen anyone else around, but just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure no one else was present.
I'm sorry to have to tell you, we most certainly can be sure.
How?
Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed.
It was?
We have 2 very reliable witnesses, no less. It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see him.
There were witnesses now. Oh yeah, let's go have a look at this map. Yep, that's a map, alright. Who are these witnesses, Inspector?
A fellow and his wife, and the man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all London. He's a cop from Scotland Yard.
An untrustworthy policeman? Say it ain't so. A policeman? That might change things. And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked?
Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of Ben and Bobby, catching them banging the act and all that.
Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions?
Be my guest. You can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow.
Oh.
I no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness, so that'll give you something to look forward to.
And that's that then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems. A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed. Yeah, as a non-judicial assistant, you could have warned me of that too. Oh yeah, one more thing, Inspector.
What?
The person who led you to the suspect. I heard that was Mr. Sherlock Sholmes.
What are you bringing him up for?
Was it something I said? The colour has drained from his cheeks. Tomorrow's trial?
That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. You gonna defend him or not?
Well,
It makes no difference to me, but I'll just say this. No London lawyer worth his salt would touch that case with a barge pole.
Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean?
There's no way to save a man now. It's a waste of time trying. It's all a bit strange though.
Sorry?
The Reaper, he hasn't appeared in court for a good few years now.
Yeah, we did hear something to that effect.
And the only people he usually bothers with are the real scum. The master criminals, the violent ones.
Master criminals? The violent ones?
That's right. Jan picks his victims, only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins.
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely.
That's just my point, Sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case of expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth in her, for want of a better phrase.
Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it?
No, there's got to be more to it. Some reason he's taking an interest.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
You think I can tell what's going on in the head of that Lord of Darkness?
Me talking about any polish shit ever?
You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial.
Are we really going to have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he puts it? Ah, come on, don't fear the Reaper. After all, the seasons don't fear the Reaper. And neither do the wind, the sun, or the rain. We can be like they are. Okay, Mr. Sholmes.
Who'd you hear that name from?
Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was a result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great deductions.
Full foul.
Eh,
The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere. I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case.
yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Gibble gabble.
Eh.
You ever seen this before?
Oh, yeah, that's Rand's magazine. The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Sherlock Holmes appears.
Yeah, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard detectives in its stories. And the so-called great detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone in the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Sherlock Holmes tale at all.
Well, I suppose there is an element of that.
We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be fronted by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to our criminals.
That can't really be true, can it, Inspector?
Clearly the great detective and the police have a complex relationship.
Well, I don't think we're going to get any more useful information out of the detective. Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion?
Oh yeah, what is it?
Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this.
By him, do you mean?
Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, exactly.
Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you?
Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all this, didn't he? Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in this case. In the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again.
The trouble is, we have no idea of the man's address, even.
It's Baker Street.
How do you know that?
It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world.
Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose.
We'd best find our way there before Suzaku-san gets any more excited and unpredictable. Hurrah! I'll summon a carriage.
So we're having a reunion already with the great detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Anything else to say? No. Anything to say about the map?
Thank you again for this. Don't mention it. I had someone in the yard fish it out for me, but in the end I didn't need it. Well, the case could hardly be simpler, could it? I don't need a map to work out what happened. You can throw it away when you're done with it.
Cold. Notice you don't know if it's as famous as 1313 Mockingbird over there. What's 1313 Mockingbird again? No, it's not the Addams Family, it's the Monsters, isn't it? To be fair, that's not as well known in the UK. Inspector Gregson, could I show you this?
Am I supposed to know what that is? I've never seen that insignia before.
It's worn by defense lawyers in the Empire of Japan, as a symbol of their profession.
In other words, it's a worthless trinket here in Great Britain.
Oh no, it's very important to me. It shows my spirit.
An English gentleman keeps things like his spirit very much to himself, you know.
Oh, okay, you don't know either, Nerlus, either one of those. Don't give up, Mr. Naruhodo.
It's too late, he's crushed my spirit already.
Okay. A new location has been added. Sholmes' Suite. 221B Baker Street. The home and office of the most famous detective in the world. Well, let's go then. Cutscene.
Thank you very much. It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day. Thanks again. This is it. The residence of Mr. Sherlock Sholmes.
Well, that cutscene added a lot.
Of February, 12:53 p.m. Sholmes' Suite.
This is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow. Icky. Nanny. Yeah, hopefully Nick Goggles and I can stream some more Ace Attorney scene. I've missed all those running gags. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dark sounds fun as well, but... Is it as described in the story as Miss Suzato? Suzato-san? Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room. Oh, I suppose they must have been, yeah? I never read the story, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be. The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism. Can you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, I suppose I can, yeah? So if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please don't mind me.
She's obsessed.
Well, it looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anyone home? Oh, do we have a visitor? Okay, it's this kid. Okay, so the kid that had the rocket launcher is friends with Sherlock Holmes. Okay, maybe that's where he gets his goggles from. I don't know. Hello? Is it a big new case for Mr. Sholmes? Hello. Wait, aren't you? Oh, how rude of me. I'll go make some tea at once. Icky, this is less surprising to you than it probably should be. I'm sure it's the same girl. Actually, I was thinking. So, obviously, the sort of urchin girl was called Lestrade. But in the stories, Sherlock Holmes did have a gang of kids working for him called the Baker Street Irregulars. So maybe they just sort of merged the characters into one. Mrs. Asso, did you see the girl who was just here? Ah yes, isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case. The King of Bohemia? King Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund von Ormstein, of course. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Sherlock Holmes for a moment and look over there. Tea's brewed, and I have freshly baked cake as well. Oh, it's you. I should do some baking tomorrow. Maybe I'll make some cinnamon buns. Notice, was he looking for his buddy Smo? I didn't get him. I knew it. Suzato-san recognises her too. Oh, there you are. Wait. Oh, there you are. And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. Well, I'm the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. And she has a little bunny backpack. Oh, from Dark Souls. Oh, right, yeah. That guy. Who, with the Sting guy, yeah. It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGildy's trial in the defendant's antechamber. I've never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Poor you, having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London. Oh, yeah, it was challenging. Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know. Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that colour? Am I? What a fragrant yet mellow flavour. Hooray, it's a winner. I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here. And you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh. And you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. Okay, I guess she knows everything. Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do you? Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, surely. Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand today again. Sorry, again today, even though he's just returned from overseas. Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think? And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite? Oh, silly me, I haven't introduced myself, have I? It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. Okay, so that... Once again, I'm haunted by a girl called Iris who just knows everything. I live here together with Hurley. Oh, Iris, is it? What a lovely name. What? What's the matter? No, wait. This can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson? What's the matter with Suzato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden? Yes, that's right. What are your names? Oh, I'm Ryanosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan. Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Suzato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Susie and Runo. Got it. Susie? And Runo? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her. I don't know where to start. Yes, and so do I. Okay, let's look around the room. What on earth is this huge over-the-top machine? That's a great analytoscope. It can analyze anything, really. Anything at all. That's absolutely incredible. It's one of Hurley's inventions. It took him a whole year. He said it was to help him with his investigations. What sort of things he analysed with it, do you know? Well, actually, he hasn't used it for anything yet. Oh. Why not? Apparently on the evening he finally completed it, it suddenly occurred to him. I don't actually have anything I need to analyse. Oh dear. How about you, Runo? Do you have anything you'd like to analyse? The only thing that springs to mind is this machine itself. You know what they say? Violence breed violence. I've seen pictures of Western musical instruments like this. It's called a violin, isn't it? Of course it is. Mr. Sholmes is renowned for his violin playing. Oh, really? Absolutely. It's often explained in the stories. It's inspirational, Mr. Naruhodo. Inspirational. Icky. The more the. I immediately started playing the koto, which was the closest Japanese stringed instrument I could find. What a shame you couldn't bring it with you to London. Oh yes, well, Papa was beaming when I asked him if he would buy me one. But after a while, he asked if I would only practice when he was out of the house. So now it's merely an ornament in my room.
That must have been an awkward conversation.
Oh, okay, I got an achievement for examining the violin before talking about anything interesting. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Lingering beside the fire and watching the flames flicker and dance in the grate. Oh, it's so relaxing. Oh, we're being raided. Hey, Nick. Oh yeah, I think you were streaming some Helldives with Enfys, weren't you? How'd it go? Oh, hold on. Just need to show off my new horns. Heroes typing. Nick, it was tense, but you did well. So yep, these horns are a bit bigger than I expected them to be, so I might switch back to my other ones, but I like them. Pretty great, you say, Rose. Heck yeah. The colour texture looked perfect. Oh, thank you. Oh yeah, actually you're all just in time for... bit of TASMR. Hey, Willow. Yeah, basically, the horns, the actual sort of physical horns are foam with acrylic paint. And then obviously I've got the silicone base, which took way longer to make because I have a lot more practice making stuff out of foam than silicone. And thank you everyone for using the TASMR emoji. Oh, it's just it was described in the stories.
It is.
Yes, exactly. Inside that Persian slipper, for example. And my chocolates for 11 says. Oh yeah, everyone welcome to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, in which Inspector Lestrade is actually a teenage criminal, and Sherlock Holmes has a, I guess like an adopted daughter who invents things. My chocolates for 11 says. And transfixed by that large jackknife. It's my shopping list from the market. Nurlis, we're meeting Sholmes' yodel assistant. Exactly. Is that a Final Fantasy XIV reference? It's not quite how I remember it being described in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Poor Zazu-san. She looks crushed. A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing men, a busted Napoleon. What an entrancing collection. Yordles are the blue goblins from League of Legends. Oh, okay. I really should watch the rest of Arcane. This is the first time in my life that I've seen a lonely old shoe displayed as an ornament. I was going to get around to watching it, but then Pixel got me watching The Owl House, so I need to finish that. Dungeons of Hinterberg just went on sale. Those are all mementos that Hurley has collected from his past cases. Anyway, the long and the short is, I'm getting, once again, I'm having the experience of a girl called Iris, just working out everything in advance. It just keeps happening. Really? Even the bust? Yep, that's right. When the mood takes him, he likes to throw it on the floor and smash it to dust. The poor defenseless Emperor. Sorry, Emperor. Mr. Sholmes destroys it. Yep, and then he buys a new one. You make it sound like he has the temperament of an insane sculptor. How entrancingly bohemian of him. It looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. It seems very sturdy, with an equally sturdy lock. Mr. Naruto, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous. How do you come to that conclusion? That chest contains some of my most valuable things. Like that rocket launcher she was holding earlier. And that smile tells me you're not going to give us any clue about what they are. What on earth is that big black lump over there? That fascinating thing is called a typewriter. It's a machine that allows you to write on paper without needing a pen. And wizardly quickly too. Oh, that sounds like it could be very useful for someone like me with terrible handwriting. And that's a charming little white shelf, and full of charming little bottles as well. Ah yes, but don't touch any of those. They might explode. Explode? Are they exotic chemicals? Do you use them for exciting experiments? Yes indeed, as Hurley always says. The more the merrier. He's already made that joke. Notice your assumption is that she's Dr. Wilson's daughter. Who you guess was Sholmes' roommate or whatnot, so effectively Sholmes' adopted daughter then. Yeah, possibly. For some reason I can't stop thinking of the Great Mouse Detective. What's the kid called in that? Like, Olivia or something? Chemistry is an explosive science. Okay, I like this kid. Sorry. I agree. A single discovery can trigger an explosion of innovation from all around the world. Oh yeah, that was it, Nolis. Olivia Flavisham. Or perhaps you just meant it literally. Either way, mental note, do not touch any bottle that belongs to Iris. I mean, everyone as a child has learned chemistry for explosive reasons. Phase, right? That wasn't just me. Oh, that's my blackboard where I note down ideas. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Black Peter. What does that mean? Don't you want to hear what Iris has to say, Mr. Naruhodo? I'll come back to that blackboard later. What a beautiful English tea set, and so neatly arranged. It's a favourite pastime of mine, a cup of herbal tea in the afternoon. Tea? Made of herbs? That's right, I grow all sorts of herbs in the garden, so I can experiment with different blends. One moment, don't go away, I'll brew a pot the special blender came up with earlier today. She looks delighted. I only hope it's safe to drink. Okay. Iris. It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey. Yeah, that's right. You're ever so helpful. Thank you so much. Oh no, not at all. I'm so sorry you couldn't have been more welcoming. Though at the time, we did have a rather large gun pointed at us. Like this? Yep, so basically she came and accosted the rogue with the grenade launcher and pointed out an even bigger gun at her. Yes, exactly, Willow. Wow. Like, Lestrade's a teenage rogue girl with a grenade launcher. And then there's this kid who just straight out carries around a rocket launcher. Thinking back now, you left with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you? Oh yeah, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade. Oh, Ginny? Yeah, she's a professional pickpocket. So we found out. It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that. Are you referring to that trial-disrupting gun-like contraption? Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get back. Perhaps you should think about putting a self-destruct mechanism to my inventions. This girl is dangerous. Anyway, I brought Ginny back here after that, so she could apologise to my trusty technician. Sorry, your technician. Hurley, of course, silly. Hurley? Yep, Herlock. Herlock Sholmes. We live here together. I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter. Daughter? Not likely. What? I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I? Well, then what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes? Well, I expect you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate. Your roommates? I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you? 10 at last this year. Well, what of your mother and father? Oh no, they're not around. Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there. Well then. Oh yes, there's something I must ask you. Of course. Go ahead, Susie. I'm a very great fan of the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes and... Oh, you have a copy of Rand's magazine? Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh, this is so exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world. Exactly, Willow. Hello, please. My stories. That's right. Hurley is always solving such amazing cases, you see. And he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame as I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think? Goodness. Last night, he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship travelling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came. So, you're the author? Yes, I'll let you on a secret if you like. I'm going to call this latest adventure The Speckled Band. The Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar. Of course, I only changed one or two details in the stories here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble. Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually. Yes, and of course I know that snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think, don't you? So, do you mean to say, are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Rand's magazine? Or written by me? Yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter. But all the stories I've ever read? are written by a Doctor of Medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson. So that it sounds getting more and more worked up. Oh, yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson. But what about the Doctor of Medicine part? That's all true too. I'm a Doctor of Medicine. No, at 10 years old. At 10 years old? Well, that's quite incredible. This is getting more anime by the minute. But, Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. Ah, yes. I did alter the setting slightly, for the story to be more compelling. Oh. Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow. I suppose it does, yes. Pauses Aso-san. She looks like her whole world has just fallen apart. Your deductions just now. About before. Yes, what's on your mind, Runo? Do tell me. How'd you know? I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean. Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How'd you know all of that? Oh, that's what you mean. Please tell us how you did it. Explain every detail. Of course, I'd be delighted, although there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin. Iris Wilson is proud to present her logic and reasoning spectacular. There's that grenade launcher again. First of all, I already knew that you were a lawyer, Runo. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber. But you also said we'd only just arrived in London. How'd you know that? I observed a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket. Oh. So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs. The Reaper of the Old Bailey. I walked right into that one, didn't I? And I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited a local prison to meet with a suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. They use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see. I didn't realise. And the red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, that told me even though you only had yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGill did, the two of you have already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you were wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or relative. That led me to believe you must have accepted a new case. I see. But how could you have known the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me that he caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling. Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been Mr. Nasume. Now, Runo has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it's clear to me that you both come from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case. There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley is always stabbing his nose with a knife, you know. He is silly. And that's all there is to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions. Okay then. This is exactly what it's like to play tabletop RPGs with Iris. Was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on.
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
You even managed to certain something of Mr. Sholmes' delivery.
Oh, well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that. This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please?
Okay. So yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying?
Yep. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage. But the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene.
The great detective is a popular man, it seems.
Apparently a woman was stabbed in a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking stooped man running away from the scene. A short, shifty-looking stooped man?
Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. Suzeki-san said he didn't see anyone else on the street at all, but it seems there were witnesses after all.
Hurley used his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. It was the lodging room very nearby. He went there with the police, and what they find? A short, shifty-looking stooped man shivering in fear.
Mr. Sholmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course it did. He's a great detective.
Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it?
Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Hurley says that London is rife with crime. Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently. Oh dear. I hadn't realised the situation was so dire. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned in the first suspicious person. That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system.
I suppose it is, but in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Suzeki-san. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? Actually, guess we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Oh, well, I expect Hurley is still investigating the scene.
Of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Natsume. Hurley said he was going to go to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there. Iris, do you know where those lodgings are? Well, I imagine the police are investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson while you were there?
Yeah, we know Inspector Gregson.
Oh, goody. In that case, give Gregsy this from me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know.
What is this?
A 5-shilling piece with a postcard, it seems. Iris's postcard has been entered into the court record. A card for Inspector Gregson with a message on the back from Iris. It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem." Gosh, well, this will make the inspector help us, will it?
Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try.
Good luck then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. And I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon. We'll be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime.
So
somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all. We headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note of one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. To be continued. No, so perjury is acknowledged as being a thing now. I guess we'll find out if bribes are. Exactly. Okay, what are we at? 2 hours, 10 minutes. Do I want to go on a bit longer? Yeah, I'll go to that. I'll go 2.5 to the 2.5 hour mark, I guess.
9th of February, 2:38 p.m. Briar Road.
It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yeah, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Okay, present. Oh yeah, let's take a look at it first. Victoria de Gracia. Victoria by the grace of God. Willow, FYI, the texture of my horns looks great. Oh, thank you. It's literally just craft foam. Well, it's a craft foam horn that I just carved laterally. And then the rest is just acrylic paint. Simple, but it's a simple but really effective way to get a horn. Oh, and obviously I used a high gloss varnish. If I wanted a slightly more realistic texture, I'd go for a lower gloss and then put high gloss in various places to get that sort of natural keratin look. This is a 5-shilling piece, isn't it? I believe it's called a crown. Oh, yep, and the base here is made of silicone. It's my first prosthetic, so it doesn't look perfect, but I'm still happy with it. Unless you count my ears, of course. Yes, and you can train a Scotland Yard detective to do whatever you want with just a single one. Iris must be the most powerful 10-year-old in the world. How much is 5 shillings, by the way? What's it really worth? Well, it's probably enough to buy all the chips the inspector could possibly eat in the whole month. And that's greasy. Iris's little handwriting is adorable, isn't it? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem. Yes, the handwriting might be adorable, but the message is ominous. There's no room for sentiment in there. I'm sure it's simply the way you're interpreting it, Mr. Naruhodo. Anyway, I do hope the inspector will tell us what we need to know when he reads it. You don't think that'll just make him munch piping hot chips until steam comes out of his ears, do you? Well, that wouldn't be an entirely terrible outcome. This is really making me crave some fish and chips. Oh yeah, I need to present it, don't I? Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment?
I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure.
We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson.
What? From me? What? For me? From her ladyship?
Her ladyship.
Give that here at once. Come on, hand it over. That's for me.
Don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? What was that coin exactly?
It's a silver crown, obviously. It's a lot more than that. It's, well, it's an appearance fee, that's what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean...
That's right. For the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me. Every time.
Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly.
Of course, her using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still.
I'm sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you.
You never mind that. So, what do you want to know then, eh?
Sorry.
Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Ah, low knife wielding moustache Japanese fella. He lives on in a right old oval. It's just over there, look.
Oh, the bricked up window.
On the first floor of that house in the corner where that wreck of a bicycle was propped up.
That's nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garrideb. Right, well. If you see her again, make sure you give her ladyship my regards. Yeah. I mean it. You tell her. Gregson sends his very best wishes.
Don't worry, Inspector. We will.
Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship.
Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left. Yep. So then, shall we go and see what we can find at Mr. Natsume's lodgings? Exactly, Willow. Don't shake your chips at me. Definitely. In we go, I guess. How bad can they be?
19th of February. Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Okay, that's not too bad. May I help you? Oh yeah, would this be the residence of Mr. John Garrideb? Indeed it would be, sir. Who may I say is calling? My name is Ryunosuke Naruto. I am... Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseski Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here? No less. I do shake my chips, and perhaps I shake my chips at you. Or however the line goes. Ow, ow. Would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garrideb. Did you see that, Mrs. Atto? That was a real-life English maid. I know. As I understand it, any overstanding in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better. It certainly feels like we've arrived now, doesn't it? We need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete. Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garrideb will see you now. This way. What lunacy is this? Good day to you. John Garrideb at your service. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of my Wand, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but I had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings.
So he's a retired soldier? No less, his lordship, Mr. Tonight himself.
It's a hell of a job getting up and downstairs now. I can tell you, don't get out as much as you can imagine.
Yeah, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs. You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo. Do you think so? Well, Mr. Garrideb, No doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal.
Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Joan, fetch that. Dash it all, woman. Be careful.
Oh, dearie me, I do beg your pardon, sir.
You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands.
I should be more careful, sir. Oopsies indeed.
So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now.
Yes, I see.
Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs, is that right?
Yeah, we'll be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us.
Only too pleased, naturally, especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blighty. We've forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
Oh, is it?
Even had some famous detective pokey around, you know, in this old house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, or that detective business.
Oh, but you have a copy of Rand's magazine here, so... Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak.
So he's in Soseki-san's room. Soseki-san's room. It's a bad nuisance, is what it is. The whole neighbourhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling.
Okay. No less, apparently British people are prey animals. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it indeed? Exactly, Willow. He's embarrassed about Sholmes being his blawbow. Anyways, I think I'll call it there for now. Because my voice is getting kind of sore. Notice they keep having the side-facing eyes. Makes sense? Yeah, because I kind of want to get these horns off. I'm still not used to wearing them. And also I want to get some sewing in. And save again for good measure, I guess. Yep. Thank you for watching, Willow. Okay, we'll just find someone to raid. So, who's online? Okay, for some reason Twitch opened unmuted. Let's see. Actually low-key pleased about how these horns look. Oh yeah, just raise this so you can see the other horn. Let's see. Notice, congrats on the horns, the scores on them look cool. Yeah, ironically the texture on the horns is probably the easiest thing. Literally just went over them with a Dremel. Okay, no one really seems to be live, so we'll just trade dash ducks. But yeah, as I said, I think I'll probably just use latex horns going forward. Just because they're a bit more comfortable to wear. But yeah, I'm really glad I've got this technique down for Carlax horns. So yeah, tomorrow I'm taking the day off, so no streams then. Wednesday I'll be streaming more Ace Attorney. Thursday I'll be, I can't remember who's hosting it, but that'll be Dokapon Kingdom again. A Wild Time. And Friday is... let me just double check. Yep. I'll be on next channel for more Dial Town. Which will be, yeah, no hinges. Yep. I'm having a busy week off, Willow. Oh yeah, and Wednesday will be my birthday as well, so I guess that's the thing. Anyway, we're gonna raid in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment and subscribe. And, I don't know, leave a comment about your favourite fictional tiefling, I guess. It's still my favourites.